Hey guys, Trunade here bringing you another Yu-Gi-Oh! Decklist video. This one's actually going to be on Gigivise. I know it's been a while, but this is a deck I've been working on. I actually, my computer died, and I just got my new one. So for the past, week or so, while I've had some spare time, not able to work on YouTube and things like that, I have been playing some Yu-Gi-Oh! Working on Decklist videos, and all that fun stuff. So anyhow, let's just go ahead and get into this. Like I said, this is Gigivise. We're going to lead off with a Dark Arm Dragon. I believe there is 6 targets, not including himself. 1 Gorz, Emissary of Darkness. You are only going to be playing 1 trap card in the entire deck, so Gorz is definitely a card you're going to want to have in here. Good for Dark Arm abuse, good for a few other little purposes. Good against burn, I suppose, but mostly just to protect you long enough to get the cards you need. There's different styles of Gigivise, but this one is, as you'll kind of see, Power Tool OTK, and I'll go into a loop you do to really pull it off a little bit later. Next, we've got 2 copies of Gigiplant. 3 seems a little unnecessary to me. 2 always seems to get the job done. There's ways to bring him back from the graveyard. There's ways to bring him back from out of play. All they could really do, I mean, there's nothing really they can do to make it so that you'll regret having to, unless you draw them both in your first hand. But even then, I've done that before, and you can still work with it. 2 Lonefire Blossoms lets you get any plant in the deck. Obviously, Gigiplant's the star player of the deck, so you're going to want a Lonefire into Gigiplant, equip him with Supervise, and pretty much go to town. Hence, the deck's called Gigivise. So yeah, 2 Dandylions. This is great because there's some discard cards in the deck. This card helps you stall. It's good with Cyber Valley abuse, as we'll see later on. Good with Synchroing. Good removal with Spore to get a level 4. All of that and more. So let's keep going. Good foolish target also. Spore. Spore is a really great card for the deck. This is a modified Spore with a Woodland Archer picture, because I get bored a lot, and it says Captain Usopp on it, which is a post-time skip One Piece reference for anyone that is into that. But I'm sure you're all familiar with Spore's effect. You remove from play a plant to bring him back, and he increases his level by the removed plant's level. So you could remove from play a Gigiplant and make him come back as a level 7 tuner. You could remove from play Lonefire and make him come back level 4. All that kind of stuff. He's really important for the loop as well. Glow-Up-Bulb. Glow-Up-Bulb is a really great card, came out in the new set. Really amazing for this deck especially, although others like Scraps and even Zombies in my opinion. But yeah, we'll get more into this later. Really good discard card, good foolish target, all of that. 1 Mystic Tomato helps you get your dark count to where you need it to be for Dark Armed, although Dark Armed really isn't your main win condition. He kind of is just an extra way to blow up the field before you go crazy with Gigiplant. But yeah, you'll see there's quite a few targets for him. I believe 4, which is plenty. One of them being Violet Witch, who has 9 targets, which is pretty good. Lonefire is the main one you're going to want to go for. A lot of times you tomato into either Violet Witch or Sangan and use Violet Witch or Sangan to get Lonefire, which is one of the 2 or 3 cards you really need for this deck to pull off your Power Tool OTK. So then we have Sangan, searchable by tomato, great first turn set card, good synchro fodder, good for Dark Armed, gets you your Lonefire, overall amazing card. 1 Level Eater. This is a card I haven't seen used before in Gigivise, probably because Formula Synchron wasn't out. But I have tested this in, kind of threw it in as a tech, and it is really, really done well. It's great for 1-for-1, which you'll see that we're running. There's a little combo that I'll reveal later that works really well with him. Good for United We Stand, which you'll see we're running, and a few other cards. 1 Plaguespreader Zombie, good for Dark Armed, good for Synchroing, good discard fodder, good foolish target. Overall, just a good card for the deck. Good for, bringing out a tomato if you're running out of targets. And last but definitely not least, 3 Cyber Valley. Cyber Valley is a very key player in the deck. great first turn summon to stall so you can get your cards. Great abuse with tokens like Dandylion or Scapegoat, etc., etc. So now we're going to get into these spells, which really kind of round out the deck as a whole. For those of you that don't know Power Tool's effect, he allows you to search out 3 equip cards from your deck, shuffle them up, and your opponent randomly selects one and it goes to your hand. So you want to make sure you have enough equip targets for the deck. So we've got 3 Supervise, which will give Gigiplant his effect, which will allow him to bring back a Lonefire, or a level 1 tuner, and Synchro 6 for Power Tool Dragon. Then Supervise's effect will activate, which will bring back the said Gigiplant, which will allow you to do the loop again if your Power Tool pulls you a Supervise. So that's kind of the basics of the loop. But even if you don't get a Supervise, you can still continue it. 2 Mark of the Rose, really, really great card. Good with Cyber Valley abuse, good with all your tuners, good with tributing for Gigiplant if you need to, good equip for, United We Stand, gets you more monsters, good to clear the field for OTK, great target for, Power Tool, all that kind of stuff. Hold on just 1 second. Someone is IMing me. I keep my keyboard under my computer when I do these videos. Anyway, sorry about that. Next we have 1 United We Stand. I don't really see people play this, but I think that's because, with Formula Synchron added to the deck, you're going to be drawing a lot, and you don't want to draw into too many of your equips so that you can't, use Power Tool's effect. So it's good to have another target, and United We Stand is just a really great out. Like, let's say you're trying to do your loop, you get 2 Supervises, and then, or even just 1 Supervise, and your opponent does not pick Supervise, when you shuffle your 3 equips. Let's say you get United We Stand, equip it, bring back Spore, bring back Level Leader, attack with 3 monsters, one of them has United, you can get game. So it's a good out if you can't get enough of a swarm going. 2 D.D.R, Different Dimension Reincarnation. I think this was only released once in the macro structure. I could be wrong about that. But anyway, yeah, you discard 1 card, Special Summon or remove from play monster. Really great because you remove with Mark of the Rose, you remove with Cyber Valley, your opponent will try to remove with Bottomless if you are forced to summon a Gigiplant normally, and all that good stuff. It's really easy to get removed from play cards basically with this deck. You remove with Spore as well, so it's not going to be a dead draw, and it'll allow you to ditch all those monsters that we covered earlier. And like I said, it's an equip for Power Tool, so it's usually a free +1 anyway. 1 for 1, really great card for the deck because it lets you get your Level Leader, lets you get your Cyber Valley, you get all that kind of stuff. So really, really good. Also lets you get Spore, lets you get Glow-Up-Bulb, all of that goodness. Card Destruction. I don't see people play this either, but it's pretty much for draw power and discarding. It's good to discard all the cards we covered to draw into Giant Trunade, Supervise, or Lonefire, because if you can't tell, that's pretty much how you win. But we'll go over it in a little bit more. 1 Allure of Darkness, because you have just enough darks to make it so it's not a dead draw, and it works out pretty freaking well. So good to draw into your necessary cards. 2 Gold Sarcophagus, and you're 99% of the time you use this card, you're going to be going for Giant Trunade, because basically you Giant Trunade so they don't have any defense. Then you summon a Lonefire, pop it for Gigiplant, equip it with Supervise, bring back the Lonefire with Gigiplant's effect, which then lets you pop it out for a level 1 tuner, synchro for Power Tool Dragon, hopefully get another Supervise to your hand. Gigiplant is summoned by Supervise's second effect when it's sent to the graveyard to summon a normal monster, which Gemini monsters are considered normal in the grave. Equip that with Supervise, and you pretty much do the loop to have a full field of monsters. So you really need to have that Giant Trunade to make sure that your stuff doesn't get janked up. Although a lot of times you can Synchro Brionic and clear their field as long as they don't have a Bottomless. And if they do have a Bottomless, you can D.D.R and things like that. So even if you can't get to your Trunade, it's not the end of the world. There are other options. 1 Foolish, to, you know, ditch any of the cards we talked about. A lot of the times you do it for Dandylion, so you can use it with Cyber Valley. Then D.D.R for Cyber Valley, discard like another Dandylion or a Spore or a Level Leader, and it just lets you get into your cards. Dark Hole, staple, pretty much just to prevent yourself from getting wiped out before you get your cards. One Mind Control, just a little bit more monster manipulation, along with Mark of the Rose for synchroing and removing with Cyber Valley and all that good stuff. 2 Miracle Fertilizer. This is just in case you draw into your Gigiplants, you end up discarding them, you can get them back. It's good to run at 2, because if you play Miracle Fertilizer you can't normal summon that turn, so you can stack them up though and use 2 during the same turn, which kind of makes up for it. And the way this deck draws with Formula Synchron, it usually can work out that way. Just really good to get back what you need to get back. Along those lines, we also have Monster Reborn. Scapegoat, another card I don't really see people play, but good because you can use your level 1 tuners to sync or Formula Synchron, or you can remove his Cyber Valley to get draws, or you can just use it to get tokens for defense. And then lastly, for the spells, 1 Giant Trunade, the most necessary spell other than Supervise. You can use it with Miracle Fertilizer, although I usually don't even like to take the risk of summoning something if they have back row. You just Giant Trunade, summon Lonefire, pop for Gigiplant, equip for Supervise, and it's pretty much usually game over. Then for traps, only 1 trap in the whole deck, Treacherous Trap Hole, which, if you're not familiar with its effect, activate while you control no trap cards, destroy 2 monsters on the field. I always wanted to use this card, so I kind of threw it in as a tech here, but it actually works out pretty well. Basically because, you know, your opponent doesn't have to trigger this card. It's not like when your opponent summons a monster, you activate it. When your opponent attacks, activate it. You can activate it whenever you want to stop big plays, to stop synchroing, all that fun stuff. And so far it's worked out really well for me. So that's pretty much the deck. And just to elaborate a little bit, because I know that this deck can be very confusing, and you're probably going to have to practice the combos a little bit if you're like planning to play it. But I pretty much explained the Gigiplant loop pretty well, I would say. But one thing that may not have been totally clear is how Level Leader fits into it. So I just wanted to say, yeah, basically, just remember that when you summon the Gigiplant, you can remove 1 star from Gigiplant to make him level 5 to get back Level Leader. You use Gigiplant's effect to get back Lonefire, and then you Lonefire into Glow-Up-Bulb or Spore, and then you synchro for level 7. No, you synchro for level 2 for Formula Synchron. Formula Synchron's effect is when he's synchro summoned, you can draw a card, and he himself is a tuner. So you synchro this level 2 tuner synchro with Gigiplant for level 5 for Power Tool Dragon, and that's pretty much how you abuse Formula Synchron to get draw power. But let's go over the extra deck. I don't go over extra decks that often because I don't think they're usually generic, but this one is a little bit different. So I'm just going to go over my personal extra deck, and then I'll tell you some changes I would make if I had the cards. But yeah, 1 Red Dragon Archfiend, 1 Colossal Fighter, 1 Stardust Dragon, 3 Power Tool Dragon. You're definitely going to need this card at 3. 1 Scrap Archfiend, because the deck goes into 7 a lot. 1 Black Rose Dragon, in case you need to blow up the field or use its second effect. 1 Ancient Fairy Dragon to get rid of like Necro Valley or something if you have to. Goyo, staple. 1 Brionic, Great Field Clearer, if you don't have Trunade or something. 1 Catastor in case you need to use his effect or whatever. 1 Armory Arm, and 2 Formula Synchron. Now, changes I would make is I would probably take out the Scrapped Archfiend and the Red Dragon Archfiend for a 3rd Formula Synchron and a Scrap Dragon. I don't have a 3rd Formula Synchron or a Scrap Dragon though, so those are kind of changes I can't implement at the moment. But there you go, that's the deck. Gigivise, really successful. I'd really recommend you play it if you have the cards. Really, really fun. Pretty freaking competitive. It's a little one-dimensional in the sense that it doesn't run stuff like MST. It doesn't run things that give it... I mean, it has tons of options, but it just doesn't have ways to get around certain things as easily as other decks. But so you have to be careful, like, of Gravekeepers that get like a Solemn on the field and a Necro Valley, and like, you know, they Solemn your Trunade or something. That could definitely leave you in a little bit of a tight spot. But other than, like, you know, getting your Trunade Solemned, you pretty much you know, wreck with this deck. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's been the first time of me posting a video in a while. If you haven't already seen it, I would check out my Battle for Charity video about a Pokemon charity event that I'm participating in. That's about it for this one, guys. Peace out.